Okay, everyone. Hope you can hear me well. So first, thank you very much for taking the time and joining us today. I would like to welcome back our existing Start Engine investors and welcome our newest investors into the fold. We are Doroni Aerospace, based in Miami, Florida, and we are on the mission to fix transportation and democratize flight. During the webinar, if you have any thoughts or questions, please drop them into the Q&A box here in Zoom, or in the chat box, better in the Q&A box. And we will answer them in order at the end of the webinar. Now I would like to hand over the floor to our CEO and founder, Doroni Merdinger. Doroni, please.
Thank you, Yaakov. Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining in. So I'm Doroni. I'm the CEO and founder of Doroni Aerospace. I'm very excited to share with you today the accomplishment, the progress we've done, and where we're going forward. We are a global team with some of the brightest minds in the industry spread around across the globe. With that, I would like to introduce our team. Hello, Roman. Roman is our co-founder. He's the Chief Aerodynamics and Mechanical Engineer, a very special person. As you can see, he always smiles. Derek Barger, also a very special, all of them are special. Derek is our Chief Electrical and Electronics Engineer, a very special and talented. We all became friends, so it's now on a personal basis more than everything else. Zara Balangi, again, another special guy. He's a Chief Systems Development Engineer. And Oleg, who is an Aerodynamics and Mechanical Engineer, is not here today, he's still working. Yaakov Verdiger, Business Development Manager. We have Charles Boyd, he's our test pilot. And we have Dan Sakani, a former Tesla Lucid CFO. He's also currently working on their stuff. Thank you very much again for joining. With that, let me move forward a little bit and explain the vision and what you've been. So it basically started as we saw the drone technology coming to life. For me, it was really a personal experience while stuck in a traffic jam. I saw a kid playing with a drone next to me, and my next question is why am I not, flying and moving forward with all this traffic jam? As all the time we've been traveling on a two-dimensional world, and really the drone technology proved to us that we can commute in multiple layers, as today they will be called corridors. With that moment, I understood that we need to move forward, and we started creating this amazing team. And then with this team, we started as a home garage. So what we've done is we created few shapes, few airframe, few configuration. We started what we call a Y6 configuration. As you can see, it has a shape of a Y, which has two motors, two propellers in each duct. We have overall 3 ducts. And then right after we understood the next stage, we understood we have to iterate it and change it to what we call an X8. So that means it's 8 motors. Yaakov, if you could please move to the next slide. It's an X8 motors, and each of them has 2 ducts two propellers in the duct. We basically started with small props, and I will address that in a second, and lifted off the ground a 643-pound frame. And at that point, everything started to change for us. We understood to adapt our business plan and make that thing more efficient. As far as we understood, we had to go to the next level. The X8 basically served as the base for what we see today as the Doroni H1. And in each duct, again, there are 2 propellers. We added 2 pushers in the back, which are the 2 props in the back for a more efficient horizontal flight. The 8 propellers will take us vertically, and 2 horizontal. So what happens is this system, and it becomes basically a very efficient and a very, it will become a very safe, and I'll address that in the next couple of sentences. So this is a two-seater overall payload of 500 pounds for 2 pilots or 2 passengers. Park at home, charge, all electric, projected commercial in the fourth quarter of 2024. So what makes this, or what makes us so unique, or the product is so unique? First of all, and always, I would like to, to address the team. I think, this multinational team really, and multidisciplinary team is very unique. I call them all anarchists. They're, the way they think is totally different than the regular manager at a high-level company, because we are able to do multiple things at the same time with different technologies and different methodologies as well. So the platform that we're looking at is our go-to family vehicle of the future. We really hunting into the Jetsons and all that, the dreams that we are thinking. We know this is doable with the technology as of today, which obviously will keep progressing and changing with time. We are accomplishing it with the unique, sleek design, aesthetic, and also safety-centric product that position it amongst one of the safest vehicles in the world. And so I would like to address what we're talking about, safety, and then give you a little bit of the experience. So in terms of safety, we understood that we are going to be scrutinized. This is a new vehicle altogether, a new conception. Yaakov, please move to the next slide. And what happens is that everybody's going to say, okay, this is safe, this is safe. And, we're looking at 8 propellers that will take us vertical. If you know every helicopter, most of them have 1 propeller, and if there's a malfunction in the system, you're relying on 1 propeller. You can do auto rotating to do a safe landing. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. In our case, we have 8 motors and 2 in each duct. So we are already designing it in a way that if one of the propeller will crash in each duct, we can still land on 4. That means 4 separate. So we have 2 or we have 8 propellers, we can land on 4. This is how we also plan it as far as the battery and computer system and flight control system and everything. One of the motor and the interesting part that I've been talking lately, everything we know about aerospace today, everything that flies above the ground is made of aluminum and basically propelled by combustion engine, which has a lot of liquid fluids, a lot of vibration. This is a different ballgame. This is all carbon fiber and composites and all electric. So there's really nothing that vibrates. There's no energy that you dissipate. So most of it is very, very efficient. If something breaks, you just need to replace it. There's really nothing to fix here, much like, other cars like Tesla or the electric cars. So as far as the design, what we're doing in mind is creating such a strong cockpit that it will be made of carbon fiber monocoque. That means there's almost no structure that can withstand higher blows, much like Formula One car driver that can bang into a wall at the speed of 320 kilometers an hour and can come out alive. So this is another thing to paint. One of the interesting part is that in case of emergency, what we have is we have a ballistic parachute that will deploy from the back. Let me show you my screen for a second. So the parachute will deploy from here and will safely land the whole vehicle. So a little bit about how do we see it as far as functionality. So the way we approach it, we say this is a very simple to use, intuitive machine that has to work. There's not a lot of things that you need to learn about it because it doesn't fly like a regular aircraft. So when you approach it, you swipe the card here on where the number 1 is, and then the door will open. Once you sit inside, you'll see 3 tablets. And Roman will address that in the next slide. So you basically see the tablets, and the tablets will give you all the information that you would need. Joysticks, these is previous design joysticks are already situated in the center. So the way you go vertical, and this is the fun experience, you get audible and you get visual, but basically you're pressing this button number 5 here, start and stop. The screen will change, and then you have a tab, go, take off, and then you go auto takeoff. Zara will share with you in a second. So this is how you fly. There's a joystick that basically you move forward, backwards, and it will maneuver in that way. So with that being said, I would like to introduce, or basically I would like to hand over to Roman. He's our co-founder and chief aerodynamic and mechanical engineer. He will dive into our cockpit design and functionality of the progress that we made so far. Roman, please.
Hello, everyone. Nice to see you. Let me explain a little bit what is our idea about cockpit, why we changed a little bit design, which we had before. We made few ergonomics tests. We checked, going in, out, other stuff with mocap. And we understood that, we need to adapt design to make it even more comfortable than we had before. Now you can see we created design which is totally simple and easy for understanding, so you won't be confused with anything inside. When you are going in, you sit in the comfortable chair, you use 4-point belt, and you can see in the center 2 joysticks. So wherever you are left-handed, right-handed, you can sit on the right seat and use the joystick which you want to use. Joysticks is the center of control. Everything is mounted on the joysticks. So you just launch the push button in the center console. And after that, you can do flying using, just one hand and fingers on it. So no additional instrument. And also you have it on the dashboard, you have 3 tablets, and it's sensor tablets. So you can, after it, Zara will show more functionality, but you can control all the vehicle ventilation, auto launch, other stuff. And as we found out, it's unique design with 3 tablets on the dashboard with a removable tablet. So we made a patents about it. And, Doroni growing in intellectual property. And as it's a transport, not a toy, behind the seats, you would have really big volume for suitcase, golf jars, some boxes, wherever you will need to take with you to go somewhere to trip. So that's it. I think Charles can explain more about experience. He's our test pilot. So thank you very much.
Roman, thank you for that. Excuse me. Everybody, welcome. Thank you. My name is Charles. I am the test pilot. What we have here is a video of the Doroni VR simulator. This will be our center stage at Oshkosh. You'll be able to reach out and fly the Doroni using a virtual headset sitting in the actual cockpit that we built. And it will react the same way the Doroni will in real life when everything's built and done. We've got, as everyone said, we've got the 8 motors. You can see the 3 tablets in the front, which we'll go into shortly, all identical. We'll give you all the important information you need to know, navigation, and anything else you may need for your flight. I think that's about it. With that, I'll introduce Sar. He's our dashboard app and software engineer, and he'll be able to explain to you more about how we've been working on the dashboard app.
Yeah, I did a pre-recording for this. Thank you.
And welcome to Doroni. Hello, and welcome to Doroni. Status check completed.
Hi guys, so this is the Doroni Dash app, and what I want to talk to you about is the different features of the Doroni Dash app. So there's going to be 3 tablets installed on the dashboard of your Doroni, and this is what you will see. So when you first turn it on, you will be greeted with that message, and you will go to this page called My Doroni. So the purpose of this page is to get the general health of your Doroni. You got your battery charge levels, mileage, and the status of each of the motors in your Doroni. And then we've got the system settings. So since there's 3, you'll be able to set which one is which. So if you're in the left, it's set to the left, middle, or right seat. You got your language settings, you got your measurement settings, and you've got the sound settings. You can change the volume. Okay, so next is the navigation. So this is a standard feature in any vehicle nowadays. So Doroni must have one. So you'll be able to set location or the destination that you want to go to, for example. And yeah, so this is where it goes. And so once you put the destination, it will calculate a route for you, and you can start to navigate. And this is the view that you get. So you either have a 3D map or a 2D map. You can swap between those views, right? And you can also drag the map so you can see where you are in the world, and then you can recenter that. So that's that. Then let's move on to the landing and takeoff and landing page. So in the landing and takeoff page, this is one of the famous features that we have is you can set the altitude, for example, and then you can press takeoff and it will take off for you. You will hear an audible in the background in your cockpit saying Doroni is taking off. Similarly, when you want to land, there will be a land button, auto land button that you can press, and again you will hear the audible saying Doroni is landing. You can turn off on and off the lights, the landing lights that is facing downwards. Here you see is the camera facing the bottom facing camera. Then moving on to cameras. So you've got a 360 view of your Doroni. So you've got a front, left, and right, rear, and even the bottom ones. Bottom one. So yeah, so you'll be able to see scenic views, see where if you have any traffic in front, in any direction basically. You'll have light controls as well. So you can turn the front lights on, landing lights, strobe lights. So these are typical lights that you use when you're flying. You got ventilation controls, so you're able to set the temperature in your cockpit. So it's too hot. So yeah, that's that. And then you got in the cockpit. There is a way you can change the lighting. So you can change the intensity, the color. You can turn on and off the ceiling lights, intensity of the map lights. Lastly, you got the wipers, just in case in a rainy day or foggy day, you'll be able to turn them on and off. So yeah, that's it for me. If you guys have any questions, let me know. Thank you.
Okay, everybody. So basically, as you probably read already, we will be headed to EAA Air Venture and Oshkosh. Oshkosh is the queen mother of all the aviation events. There is 500,000 flights fans. They all come into Wisconsin. It's going to be a very busy week between the July 25th to July 31st. The general public will be able to step inside the completed H1 cockpit, to touch, to interact with the H1, to play with the flight and the navigation system, play when put in place basically the virtual reality assets, and get an experience that is probably, we think it's the next best thing to the actually flying the H1. The last topic we want to talk before we jump into the Q&A, it's basically the future roadmap. Doroni, go ahead. Hello.
Thank you, Yaakov.
No,
we're expecting to complete the H1 flying prototype and start the test flight before the end of 2022. We learned a lot about making the cockpit, which is actually exactly from our models, everything that you saw there. And so this can help us move forward with a more advanced and nicer design even for the actual flying one. Parts are already ordered. Some of them are already here. So we are in time with what, the plans. We feel comfortable with it. Obviously, there are challenges, but we feel comfortable with it. We are accepting 36 pre-orders this year, 2022, already filling up our waiting list. The waiting list is already gaining momentum. We are working with also with Space Florida on moving to a new and bigger facility in the coming months that also enable us to do our flight tests. We are also expanding work with local law enforcement, as Doroni is also personal, but also for first responders, police, and also the Air Force. By the way, in Oshkosh, we are lucky to have a very good location for the booth. We are basically next to the Air Force, United States Air Force, in front of Boeing. So we've got a prime location. Thank God for that. And we are preparing for mass production, LSA certification with the FAA and commercial launch in the fourth quarter of 2024. We know now we're expecting some changes as we're being also sitting on the advisory group to the advice to the FAA regarding the LSA. And there's a new certification in process now. It's called Mosaic, and we are also waiting to hear in order to to tailor more about design to be in line. So we are really sitting in front in the first row and also helping to advise that. With that being said, I think this is about it as far as the updates. There's a lot of things obviously we cannot share at this point. We will be sharing with them as they come to life, because we also these are some confidential information. I think Roman just mentioned that we did complete another patent regarding the display tablets and everything, and there are more stuff in the pipeline as well. So thank you for that, and maybe we start with at this point with the Q&A. Jaco, you want to take control of that?
Yeah, so we have a question from Steven Gantz. At what point will you be reaching out to insurance companies to make sure that the policies are available for operators and that any concern that they may have are addressed?
So we plan before the end of this year. I know it's a big question about the insurance. From my knowledge and experience, you can have insurance for everything in the world. I mean, if they insured, VIPs and celebrities and special things, aviation is a big thing, especially here in Florida, which is the power hub. We already have a lot of companies that are waiting to communicate with us for insurance. We just have to set up priorities, and so our target is before the end of this year, obviously. Maybe two questions. that were sent before, just to check, to add to the group. Stephen asked, what changes to the power grid would limit widespread of these vehicle require? Will you be pursuing those in your interaction with the government officials? So I can tell you that the whole movement is going to electric vehicles. So in fact, the whole government, both local, city, state, federal, is pushing for electric. Even I think Biden now announced that the armed forces, that the military is basically needs to pursue ecological or ecological safety vehicles. So that means electronic. So from that point, the grid will be stronger and will support it, much as they support the electric vehicles. We are already with interaction with different governments levels. Some we cannot disclose. They're still, the early discussions, but we are aware of that. We also aware that the eVTOL, the whole eVTOL, is not just the one vehicle. We are part of a growing community, and this is a community acceptance. So we understand, the gravity of this thing, and we're not taking it lightly at all. And that's why we're also very keen about safety, because everything that you see behind, that we showed you guys, this is, I can't say it like that, but this is the easier stuff. This is the fun stuff of, how the seat will look, how comfortable it will be. These are things that we already made huge progress. And, this is relatively easy. We are more interested, and this is where we're putting most of our efforts, and it's doable. It's the safety level. This needs to be safer than most of the aircraft out there, single engine commercial aircraft, aircraft or a helicopter. And we believe it's doable. So this is really what's in our mind. Another question, an anonymous. Before available to purchase, will be tested variety of weather condition. I think Charles says, of course, and thank you for asking. All weather condition will be tested before we release our final version. The electronics motors and all other system will be waterproof and will be able to fly all conditions that are safe, not only warm weather, but also weather along with a high altitude. Zar is saying also Doroni will go through certification, which is different scenarios will be tested. I would like to add that we are again in Florida, and Florida is a challenging weather. Florida, there's a tremendous heat, tremendous humidity close to the ocean. These are put strains on the system, which is good for us because it has the ability to really test it in rough condition. Also, obviously, strong winds and rains, sudden rains. And since we're building it here in Florida, you can assume that we are taking this into consideration. This will be a very strong and durable vehicle. Obviously, there will be weather condition where no aircraft will fly, and we don't expect any of the drones to be there at that point. More questions? Anything? At one point would be reaching out. I think we did that. Does the design take into consideration encounters with flock of birds? Yes. Guys, anybody wants to address this question? I'm like the only one.
Yeah, I can. Thank you. Yes, of course. One of the biggest advantage from ducted fans is their really the propellers are shielded, so nothing, no any birds or some pieces of rocks or other stuff will go in of the propellers. And also we have a really smooth design of the windshield, so any bird strike or other some damage will just pass away, so nothing will be damaged. Of course, FAA has these procedures to test, and we will use the certification procedures to check if everything works well with bird strikes. So thank you for your question.
Doroni, can I hear you? You're on
Oh,
mute.
Charles doesn't feel so well today, and we thank you for joining in, making that effort. Charles, you would like to add something to that?
No, I think everything was covered. I think this was a great get together. Thank you everybody for showing up, supporting us.
Okay, thank you. As far as also okay, I think there's another question here. How far we can travel in each recharge? So at this point, as of today, we're talking about 60 miles on one charge. But from our knowledge and what we see here, when we start to delivering our first one by 2024, we should be over 100 miles on each charge, because the battery technology keeps changing and improving dramatically. And there's a lot of push again from the government with all electric cars need to be at least 50% electric cars by 2030. So we also benefit from that, and obviously a lot of for flying even electric aircrafts are becoming more attractable product as well. How does altitude affect the H1? Flying in Denver would be different than Florida, correct? Who would like to address that?
Yeah, I can do it. Thank you for a question, Steve. Of course, altitude will affect the H1. It's physics, you can't avoid it, but to make flight comfortable for any realistic condition, in US, of course, maybe not on the tallest mountains on the world, but on the regular condition, we have some surpluses of the lifting force from the vertical takeoff when we use propellers, and we also have additional some surpluses from wings when we will fly horizontally. So for regular person, for regular user, there would be no difference to use it, or in Denver or in Florida. Thank you.
Thank you, Roman. I would like to add, so the simplicity to understand it is that the H1 can go up to 8,000 feet. We don't need to go there. In fact, when we're going vertical, we're using all the energy going vertical, and so there's one thing going high, you're spending time on going high, and there's no need. You need to get to a clearance mode in where you can go over obstacles. We think the flights are really in the few hundreds of feet above the ground. Even you can fly lower. There's no need. It really depends on what you want to cover. So you don't need to go high. The second thing is that when you go higher, the air is less condensed, so the RPM needs to go higher. That means the motor works harder. Needs to have more energy. So we can reach that. If there's no need, there's no point of using it. We shouldn't do that as well. Any more questions, guys? Before we conclude this.
Charles want to add something, I think.
Toby? No.
You good?
Yeah, because I think we answered.
Yeah, we
already answered. Yes,
yeah.
yeah.
There's one more question, Doroni. I see another question.
Okay.
Yeah, Steve, we don't have variable pitch on the propellers for now because we try to be as simple as possible. We made some simulation, other researches, and we find out that we are okay with just regular propellers without variable pitch.
So to add to that, the whole approach that we're trying to do, and actually doing it, is the simplicity. The more shafts, the more moving parts you have, the more point of failure you have. And we are trying to eliminate as much as possible. And we found that for, in our case, for, you know, these kind of distances, 60, 100 something mile at this point, you know, the power source that we're using, the type of motors we can sustain with basically having a fixed pitch props. Again, no need, there's always, we can do all these bells and whistles, which can make that thing more complicated, and we are definitely doing our best to avoid that. Also, from maintenance point of view, you just have to look around and just you see everything. If there's a problem internally, we will be notified as the H1 will be communicated with the headquarters and give them all, you know, the system check and diagnostics. Anything else? I think it's about it, right, Yaakov?
Yeah, I think there is no more questions. Of course, we welcome questions in any time. You can reach out to us in info@doroni.io. Also on the comment section on the Start Engine page. We'll be happy to answer, you know, as soon as possible. We will publish a recording for this webinar, so you know, you can other people can watch it, and you can guys watch it again if it's in your interest. Thank you very, very much for your time. I know that 3 p.m. in the afternoon in the middle of the week, it's something that's not usually available, and we really appreciate it that you took the time and join us, because we basically be sharing the same passion about the same topic. This is very exciting for all of us. So again, thank you very much from all of us.
Yaakov, let me just add something. Thank you, Yaakov.
Go ahead.
Just add something. We believe that really we're standing at very special times. These are not another product, another vehicle. We're going into a different kind of understanding of space and time. This will affect our daily life even more than the first iPhone or the first smartphone. And this is something that as time will progress, and not long in the future, this is here and coming. You guys will see it. We really would like to see as many as you guys can come to visit us at Oshkosh. We'll be happy to sit you in the cockpit and share with you and get your feedbacks, because this is we really started crowdfunding because of that, most of it, because we wanted to get feedbacks and understanding, and that made us better, much better vehicle, and we will keep improving it all the time. So thank you guys. Thank you, team Doroni here. Thank you, everybody is joining us. It's been a pleasure, and feel free to further communicate with us. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.